Let's talk about this amazing win that you had over at New Year's Eve on Rizin 40, Rizin versus Bellator. You defeated Roberto de Souza in the main event of the card. A fantastic victory, man. It just, you completed the night for Bellator, keeping a perfect record for the promotion, 5-0 against Rizin. First of all, how was the whole experience? Because it seemed from you talking to the media there and even in your post-fight interview, it was a very special moment for you.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, man. Since I was a kid, my dad's talked about just the way that they are, the culture, the fight game, just how they appreciate it. It was very different, They're bringing me gifts and stuff, I got a bunch of what is it, poiful jelly beans, best jelly beans in the world, no cap. They were just super awesome, man. I could hear everything in the middle of the rounds, you know what I mean? And it was different because having your coaches there and like being able to really like listen to what my dad and my coaches were telling me in the corner when you're facing a guy like Robert it was a big game changer, you know what I mean? I could hear everything that was going on. I was aware of my surroundings. It was different, especially even fighting in a ring. It was open, so you could hear everything. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know it was your first time fighting overseas, first time fighting in Japan, obviously, but was it your first time in Japan as well? Like in person? Okay, you've been there before.
We had been out. Well, I came out for the press conference, and that was my first time. But as far as just being out, yeah, no, I haven't been. I'm gonna go back in a few weeks and enjoy it and get out there, do a little bit of snowboarding and handle some business, shopping, and so forth.
That's awesome, yeah. And what were some of the stories that I guess your dad told you? Because he's obviously been in that part of the world. He's fought there a couple of times. What were some of the things that you were looking forward to hearing stories from your dad?
I would say just the fight fans, man. He said the way that they appreciate the sport. They're just supportive, dude. Like I didn't expect all the gifts and stuff. Like I knew, prior he had brought like pictures and stuff home when I was a kid of when he fought, and he'd have gifts. But dude, that like the fans, they genuinely they love the fight game out there and the art aspect of it. And that's why I came out in the samurai suit.
Yeah.
Just to really relate to the culture, and I felt like I'm that last warrior coming out. You know what I mean? Like you're not taking me alive, no survivors type. So
yeah,
just go for it.
And let me ask you about that suit because I thought it was dope. It looked super slick. It was awesome, and it honestly, it didn't look like a costume, like a something that you get anywhere. Like that thing looked. I don't know. That thing looked pretty legit. That thing looked like it belonged in a museum. Did they give it to you? Was it your idea? How did that come about?
So there was this place. You could go purchase them. There's just many suits. He's got like different suits. It depends on like who the general and the samurai was under and so forth. And you just there's like levels to it. It's just like anything in military and so forth. So all the other ones, they were like cool looking, you know what I mean? But like this one in particular, it was that guy. And when I saw it, I was like, I got to get this one. I was initially looking at 2 other suits, and they weren't me. I'll probably still get them just to have them, But this was the one. And I did a lot of research. I had some people contact me. I was trying to rent a couple, and then I was like, man, if you're gonna do it, go full send on it, And I ended up, finding this one. It was 100 bands, and I was like, let's do it. It took a while to pull the trigger, and
I'm sure, yeah,
a lot of negotiating. You know what I mean? I was like, shit, dude. I was like, all right, well, I'll do half right now, and we'll just get everything else situated. I want to walk out in it and put on a great show because I knew I was gonna need help. You know what I mean? It's like it's a real suit, so it's 25 kilos, weighs 25 keys. Thing was heavy. I stood in it for like 45 minutes before the fight.
Right. Yeah. Well, dude, I have so many questions about that now. You just opened like a whole can of worms. Okay, so let's start here. You said they had like different rankings, and depending on the general, are those like legit like samurai suits? Or are they like replicas of like legit, like real thing, like things that other like generals and samurais used to wear back in the day?
Yeah, they're
Okay, cool.
like there's replicas, there's all kind of stuff, but they're not, they're all handmade. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's all about who's making them and how they're made. This one's handmade. It's got alligator, crocodile on it and stuff. It's steel plated. It's all woven, stitched together. So I got to go back, get all the paperwork stuff situated, and so forth.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's the history behind this one? Did you look into it?
Nah, not really. That's why I want to go see. I'm
Yeah.
intrigued to see what's
Right.
behind it.
Yeah. And you said 100 grand. That's how much it
Yeah.
was. Damn. Most expensive article of clothing that you have, I assume, or is there something that tops it?
Hands down. I got Halloween covered for
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, not many people are willing to drop, that much money on something. So like it really must have spoken to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind, dude. My dad always told me, "Scare money don't make money." So, for
Yeah.
me, this is like, you know what I mean? Imagine if Sakuraba had a samurai suit he walked out in his first fight in Japan, and he won. You know what I mean? Be the champ, and he wasn't a champ. Like, it's just an iconic piece to me. You know what I mean? Just it's me. You know what I mean? It was what I did. You know, it's marked in the history book, my history book forever. I would have loved the knockout, you know what I mean?
Right.
But hey,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a fight, man. Just go in there, you know. Um, I love the rules, though. I love the setting. I love the arena. I love the fans, the culture. Um, I look forward to fighting there again. Hopefully, it was awesome to me.
Yeah, and as a viewer, it was an awesome experience. One, always like Japanese MMA, especially Rizin, like the production is top notch, right? Like it was super nice, and also I really like the whole vibe between like Rizin and versus Bellator. Like it's kind of nice to almost, this is a very individualistic sport, so whenever we get a chance to kind of form teams, I don't know, I think that's kind of dope. But let me ask you about the rule set you mentioned. That's something that I wanted to ask you because along with some of the aesthetics that come as far as like the changes that come with fighting in Japan, the rule set is obviously a big one. And I would say, and I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you now, but out of all the Bellator fighters that competed that night, I think you're the one that most utilized the new little rules and the new little wrinkles to the game. Like you were doing some knees to the ground opponent to Roberto, some soccer kicks. You had a really nice one to the stomach as well when he was on his back. I was wondering if that was actually going to hurt him and maybe turn into a TKO. It really seemed like that wasn't really a very difficult transition for you to make.
Nah, since I was a kid, I've kind of dreamed and watched these pride fights, you know. So I've always been aware of the rule set, the mindset, and me just being that warrior, always wanting to end the fights. I've always dreamed of doing that. So when it came full circle and I got the opportunity, um, they call me the mercenary, dog. I gotta utilize the entire arsenal, and I'm not really able to do that in some situations, but this was an opportunity to do so, and um, I just wanted to make sure I got a couple of those in there, you know. So it was something I was just very cognitive of, and I had it in the back of my mind the whole time. I'm just like, all right, where can you throw a knee? Where can you throw a kick? And Satoshi, he's a beast, bro. Like the way he blocked the kick, he pulled guard and he pulled his knee up like right in front of in front of my knee when I threw it. He's next level, man. He made that fight very hard. It was a fight where I'd say it was definitely one of my toughest fights, but it was a fight, you know. Like we were in there fighting, like it was a scrap.
Yeah, no, 100%. And going into it with like the new rules, obviously like a lot more danger, right? Is it exciting? Like, hey, I have these tools, that I can get more finishes, more exciting stuff, or was it, I guess, an excitement now that you have this arsenal? Was it maybe a little bit of fear because you're also, it goes both ways, right? It's a double-edged sword, or was it a mix of both?
Well, it can go both ways, you know, and that's where I felt. That's why I say it was a tough fight because I feel with a bit more time and learning and experience in doing so, that's when it would be fun. You know, that was just me going in there and doing what I was thinking off the top of my head. When it becomes a secondhand nature, um, that's when things get real
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Would you like to see one day the U.S. adopt those rules? Because there are, people that say like, hey, this is fighting, right? Like it should be as restricted as at least restricted as possible, right?
Um, no, if anything, I would say we should take the way the fights work. You know what I mean? Um, the judging kind of style, the system.
Okay.
You know, damage is obviously number one. If a
Hmm.
dude's getting busted up in a fight, that's number one overall. It shows who the aggressor is. You know, then I would say goes aggressor, who's going on, what's being done. You know what I mean? If you're doing submission after submission and you're attempting these things, you're being the aggressor. But then again, at the same time, um, judge the whole fight and won. That's what's really kind of crazy to me. Just because you could you could lose 2 rounds and then come in that third, say, and just put it on them. And that's what they like. And I kind of think it should stay in Japan because that's kind of what they go based off of. They don't care about wins or losses. Like that's not really
Hmm.
their style. Um, they just want a good fight, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they respect the jujitsu. You
Yeah.
hear a guy throw a triangle, they're gonna cheer for it. You defend the triangle, they're happy you defended the triangle. Like they're really in depth into the art aspect of training. Jiu-jitsu is an art, and
Mm.
it takes a lot of years and a lot of repetition, just day in day out to master it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true, right? Like there's always the argument like, oh yeah, you can adopt this, but it's also nice to kind of keep them separated, right? Because you get the best of both worlds in a way, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me ask you about the ring. That's another, I mean, huge change, right? Like you don't have a cage where you can press somebody against, or even if you take somebody down and pin them against the cage, they can wall walk, right? There's like so many, it's like it's almost a whole new different sport with that. Did you enjoy fighting in the ring or do you prefer the cage?
I prefer the cage. That's for me. I would say I just need more time in a ring.
Hmm.
Um, anything you can kind of just build that confidence in over time. So I would say I prefer the cage, especially with takedowns. I like to push people up against the cage, take them down at will. Once I get my hands locked, I know I got you to the ground. Versus a ring, it's more like actual old school wrestling. You got to get in, cut the corner, and you get a good wrestler. It's not going to be the first, the second move, the third move. You guys are going to be scrambling, hitting the high seas, and so forth. And I think that's where it's a bit different in a ring.
Yeah. So I guess if you could put one thing, what aspect of fighting in Japan did you enjoy more than you would compared to whatever the equivalent would be in the US?
Um, I would say just I would say the way that people treat you, man. It's
Mhm.
different. It's real different.
A bit toxic, right? The fans over in the US.
Yeah, they like that the just gore. We like it. They want to see a knockout. That's it. Um, they want to see blood. They want to see knockouts. They want to see that entertaining. It's like the Roman gladiators. Like they know what they're coming for. Feed them to the lion. Like that's the way it is. But
Yeah.
over in Japan, it's different. The fans, man, they bring in you jelly. Like they bring me my favorite gifts. Like what? It's sick. Like
Yeah.
I said, I like jelly beans in a video. They start bringing me all kinds of jelly beans. Like it was dope, bro. And my dad told me that. People like bow to you and shit. I'm like, no, bro, don't be bowing to me. Like get up. Like nice to meet you. Take pictures, sign stuff. Like it's just different.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
crazy
For
though. It's the
sure.
experience of a lifetime. I now understand like way back in the early 2000s, it was like I can only imagine having Rampage and like that era back then there,
Yeah.
it was probably it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I would say obviously you mentioned how like this was like a very special moment of your career and you've had some special nights, right? Like becoming Bellator champion, winning the whole Grand Prix. I mean, you've had some big moments. Um can you even compare like can you even put a ranking to it or is it like they're both in their own separate categories? Like would you say this is like the best fighting experience of your life or would you say maybe winning the title and $1 million, maybe that surpasses that. I don't know.
Nah, it's top. It's top three. I don't know if it's yeah, it's top 3. Number 1 was fighting with Pops. You know, that was
Yeah,
always a dream
that's
of
true.
mine and his. So that was always number 1. After that, I would say it's either, I don't know. This one's neck and neck. Winning the mill and winning a world champ, and then fighting in Japan. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? That was always my thing as a kid. Like, I got to fight in Japan.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, is your dad done fighting?
I don't know, man. He was just talking to Scott. I'm like, Scott, don't be talking to this man. He's trying to get him another one. I don't know. Who's he gonna fight, bro?
I don't know. In
I
Japan, I
know
mean,
who he
maybe you
wants.
can
I
find,
know
you know,
who. Nah,
a
bro.
veteran.
Like who? Who are we gonna
How
see
much does your
Antonio
dad
McKee
weigh?
fight?
That's
He'll fight anybody. This is the problem.
yeah,
He's a McKee, bro. He don't care.
yeah,
He'll fight anybody. I'm the same way. I don't care who it is. Send the name over. We run it. You know.
yeah.
Um,
I know it's big size difference, but that same night we saw Dodson fight Hideo Tokoro, who's a legend, and you know I think he's like 40. I think Gomi's still doing the damn thing, Takanori Gomi, and he's probably like in his 40s as well. There's a lot of I feel like Japanese legends out there still doing it.
yeah, that could be something. Yeah, could be a possibility.
Yeah,
Who knows? You do another
yeah,
father-son in Japan. I'd be
yeah.
down.
That'd be
Oh
pretty dope.
shit.
Yeah.
Nah, man. I don't like my dad fighting. It drives me nuts. I know how he feels when I fight though. You know what I mean? Because it's that same feeling. And as a kid watching him fight, I didn't really get to go to a lot of fights, but you know, I never liked watching him fight. You
Yeah.
know, I helped him cut weight a couple times, and I was just like, I was glad I was there. You know, looking back, like definitely helped. Having that helping hand is it's very, very good piece to have. I appreciate my dad so much in the sport, man. I wouldn't be in the position I'm in honestly without him. He pushes me day in, day out.
Yeah, for sure, man. And something else that I wanted to bring up: second fight since you moving up to 155. Overall, the 155 experience, lightweight show. How are you feeling? How's the body? How are the weight cuts? The performances?
Weight cuts are good. I think I cut what 10 the week, 10 the week
Mm-hmm.
of. So weight cut wasn't bad. Weight cut was real chill, and wasn't bad. You know,
Yeah,
55s is nice. I'm getting used to moving around with the big boys. I'm training with all the 70 pounders, 85ers in the gym. So I feel strong, you know. I'm able to move with them and then go roll with the little guys, keep up with their speed. And yeah, it keeps me like right in between the two. Um, it's nice. I like 55s, but like I said, I'll go back down to 45s.
mm.
And that's always a possibility.
Yeah. How much do you walk around at, if you don't mind me asking?
Um, The biggest I've gotten was 185. I walk around about 175.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Okay.
I'm in the gym still every day, you know,
Yeah, that's a
twice a
big
day.
cut to 45.
My
I
point.
mean, you've always made it, but you know,
Yeah. I mean, that's this right here. Power of
yeah.
mind, man.
So, I guess you mentioned how like you've enjoyed being at 155, but you don't mind dropping back down to 145. Like, but like, what's in your future? Where do you see yourself developing the rest of your career? Is it going to be that going back and forth between the two? Some fighters have done it, or are you gonna maybe go back to 145 where you've done most of your body of work, or start a new chapter at 155?
Um, I would say, you know, I'm still young, so I got a little bit more time maybe to do 45s, but I would definitely like to end up moving up and then taking over the 55-pound division. My father was a lightweight, so I always envisioned myself as a lightweight. The lightweights are also a lot bigger now.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I think it's just allow my body the time to get bigger. You know, 27, dude. I'm young still, so I think getting acclimated at 155 eventually would be the move.
yeah. How much? I know it's hard. These things are hard to predict, but more or less, like how much more time do you envision yourself making 145? Is it a couple years, a year, maybe more?
Couple years. I could do a
Yeah,
couple years, a year or two, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. They're in the midst of talking about this 55 tournament and all kind of other stuff. So I don't know what, you know, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'd love to, you know, them M's. It's a tournament. I'm on it.
yeah. At lightweight,
Yeah.
yeah. Because that's the thing. Like a lot of people, you're in an interesting spot because a lot of people, they see that trilogy against Pitbull, and that's a very enticing fight that people want to see. But at the same time, they see Usman Nurmagomedov and they start wondering, what would happen if he, crosses paths with AJ McKee. I know a lot of things are open in the air, but what would you like to happen? Is it that the 155 tournament and going for that title, or would you prefer maybe a trilogy fight against Pitbull?
I mean, ego says Pitbull, business says tournament.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say tournament. I've already put the offer on the table for Bellator with Patricio Pitbull. I've told Patricio I'd love to fight him. It's not something I'm going to continue to just reach for. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Obviously, I would love to fight him again. That'd be ideal for his legacy, for my legacy. It's a game. You know what I mean? 1-1. Everybody wants to see who the best of the best is, and especially for myself moving up from the division, I don't mind. There's another title. There's other people. This is new land to conquer for me, and that's what I'm happy about.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. And let me ask you about a moment. There was a video that came out with you and Pitbull sharing a monster on fancy glass. I don't know what that was, or trophy. I have
Those
no
are the
idea.
trophies. Yeah,
Okay,
those are the
dope. Yeah.
trophies. Um,
It was nice seeing that because like that was last time I saw you guys was when I was in LA at the press conference, and let's just say it was a different type of vibe there. So, I mean, are you guys friends? Like, what's kind of the vibe? Or did you guys set your differences aside just for this because it was Bellator versus Rizin? Talk to me a little bit about that moment.
it's kind of both. It's business, man, and we go back to. It's funny. We actually spoke. I don't know. It was while we were signing posters and everything. Everybody's doing their like media day type thing, and we had a conversation. I guess something came up. I asked him back in LA to sign a poster for me, and he crossed my face out. That was some real disrespectful shit. So like, me, I'm full force. I'm on it. Like, what's the deal? And he said we spoke upon it, and he was like, oh well, I didn't know that was for you, and this that. So he apologized for that, and we kind of settled our beef. And I'm like, he came to me, apologized, and I could appreciate that. You know what I mean? Any man that comes to another man and apologizes for disrespecting him, like, all right, like I see why this is the way it is. I didn't really mean this, but at the end of the day, we're fighters, and I told him, like, no hard feelings, bro. Like, I still got a lot of respect for you. Like, we could fight. If not, cool. But like, always respect to you. You know what I mean? Like, you're a hell of a beast, bro. He's fought some of the best fighters in the world, and he's beaten them. So for me, that was the key. Cheers. It's cool to you. We cool. Hold it down. You know what I mean? We a team tonight, and until we put in front of each other again, I mean, hey, what can I do? We'll be cordial. We're cool. Yeah, it's a cool time, man. I got a lot of respect for him. He's a cool dude, family man. Brothers in there as well. His brother, the new meat though. I'm coming for Patricio. I told Patricio too. I want my title, but he lost that, so now it's Usman.
Yeah.
So, but Patricio can get it too. Like I said,